Now we get to play one of my favorite games called Am I Feeling Depressed or Am I Just Tired? If I had to guess, I'm just tired. What's up, everybody? New Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla King of the Monsters, yes, discussion video. Although this one is not a Godzilla King of the Monsters discussion video. This one's a Godzilla vs. Kong discussion video. Before we begin this video, I have to say that this video is brought to you by Titan Books. Titan Books is a publishing company that does a lot of movie novelizations, among other things, including the novelizations for all the MonsterVerse films so far. They've also done the art books for King of the Monsters and some other good stuff like that. If you want to get your hands on the Godzilla King of the Monsters novelization, I got a link down below where you can do so. Yes, Titan Books is the ones who sent me the Godzilla King of the Monsters novelization, and so they are the ones who get credit for all my videos on the novelization. So remember, like months and months ago, like, I don't know, half a year ago, when I said I was going to be doing a bunch of videos on the novelization? Well, guess what, fellas? It's time to do all those videos, because it's like a perfect opportunity, right? Nothing else is going on at the moment. There's no news to keep up with all that much anyways. There's some stuff, but it's nothing pressing. It's just like I got a nice period where I can kind of relax before Godzilla vs. Kong really kicks off here once the trailers start coming out. And so we might as well take this time to discuss all about the Godzilla King of the Monsters novelization. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down all of the different ways that the Godzilla King of the Monsters novelization sets up Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, these are ways that are specific to the novelization, and so if you don't want spoilers for the novelization, if you plan on reading it, you can leave. Or if you're just interested, stick around, because it's all new stuff. None of this stuff is from King of the Monsters, the movie. Starting out with something that I do anticipate we will see followed through in Godzilla vs. Kong. These two characters are returning, and so I think it's a large possibility that we will see something come of this. If you remember in Godzilla King of the Monsters, after Dr. Serizawa sacrifices himself to revive Godzilla, sorry, spoiler alert for the movie that came out over half a year ago, there is a small little moment when Mark Russell and Ilene Chen hold hands. They hold hands as the submarine is hit by the blast of the atomic bomb that took Serizawa's life. In the novelization for Godzilla King of the Monsters, this holds quite a bit more significance than is let on in the movie. It seems that this is the start to something of a romantic development between the two. Now, there's nothing outright that says it's going to be a romantic relationship between the two characters, but it is heavily implied, and it is again implied when you see them interacting on top of the submarine after Godzilla has shot his beam into the sky after he's done the call to arms. The two of them seem to have something of a relationship developing. I don't know to what extent we will see that followed through on, but I have talked about on the channel before that I do anticipate the two characters to be at the very least significantly closer to one another in Godzilla vs. Kong than they were in King of the Monsters, if not in a relationship. And I could absolutely see these two characters being in a relationship. I could see that being the way that Mark Russell gets involved in everything going on in Godzilla vs. Kong, because if you have read the King of the Monsters novelization, you will know that Mark Russell does not want to be a part of Monarch. He wants out. He still wants out even after everything that's happened. So it is unlikely that he will be a full-blown Monarch member in the new movie. However, if him and Ilene, him and Dr. Chen were in a relationship, there would be a reason for him to still be involved in Monarch, to still be connected to everything going on, and that would give him a motivation to come back into things once everything hits the fan. This isn't directly setting up Godzilla vs. Kong, it's more of explaining something from King of the Monsters that could be viewed as a plot hole, but I think it's kind of relevant to this video because it deals with Skull Island, so we will mention it. Monarch considers the 1973 mission to Skull Island to be proof that only Skull Island is hollowed. That's why people like Rick Stanton are outed in Monarch for believing in the Hollow Earth. That's why when they discover the actual Hollow Earth that Godzilla lives inside of, it's treated as a big deal. Even though in Kong Skull Island, they definitely discovered that the bedrock underneath the island was hollowed. So it seems that Monarch doesn't really believe that. That's why Monarch in the movie isn't really on board with that idea. It's mostly an idea that's viewed as a crackpot theory, and people are just using slight evidence to prove something way overblown. But then in King of the Monsters, it turns out that yes, the Earth is in fact not hollow entirely, but there are pockets of hollow Earth, and there are underground tunnels that connect to one another that explain how the Titans such as Godzilla are able to zip around all over the planet. planet. Kong is then stated to be a protector, not a monster. This comes from Dr. Brooks, who has a lot more to do in the Godzilla King of the Monsters novelization, so if you liked seeing the return of Houston Brooks in the movie, the novelization has got you covered. He's got a little bit more to do here, and it's pretty cool. So yes, he does state flat out that Kong is a protector, not a monster. Brooks makes it very clear that King Kong is not evil. I bring that up because I've seen a lot of people claiming that Kong is going to be evil in Godzilla vs. Kong. Lots of theories leaning into Kong is going to be evil. Kong's not going to be evil. Both Dr. Brooks and Dr. Ling, who is the sister of Dr. Chen, aka one half of the Mothra twins, compare Kong to Mothra. Kong is compared to Mothra, and of course we know that Mothra is far from evil. Mothra is the protector of life. Kong is the protector of innocent life. If you want to hear all about that, you can go watch my video breaking down Kong being a bad guy in Godzilla vs. Kong, where we talk all about Skull Island, the birth of Kong, which does confirm that Kong is the protector of all innocent life, or at the very least he would like to be. He sure would like to protect innocent life, at least the innocent life on his island, I should say. And then as Mothra hatches, Brooks notices that Ling looks at Mothra the same way the Iwi look at Kong. Again, it's another strange parallel between King Kong and Mothra that the book draws, and I find that to be pretty interesting. I've drawn a similar comparison to these two characters in the past. If you've watched my videos on the Monsterverse, specifically videos relating to Kong where I mention Mothra, I typically mention how I think the two of those characters are great companions. They need to be put on screen together. They have the potential to be a great duo, and yeah, I've drawn comparisons between the two as well, so it's cool to see something in canon do the same. In the Hollow Earth Temple, you know, the temple that is pretty much Godzilla's temple in the movie, it's just Godzilla's temple. In the special features for the movie, we find out the temple isn't just for Godzilla, there's also a little Mothra section as well, but it's much more of Godzilla's temple in the movie. We see Godzilla live there. The only Titan we really see outside of Ghidorah fighting Godzilla is Godzilla sketched onto the walls, and it's Godzilla's temple, you know, that's what it is. It's Godzilla's lair. That's where Godzilla lives. However, in the novelization, we learn that there is an altar devoted to both Mothra and Kong. Kong has his own little section in the Hollow Earth Temple as well. So it may not be his temple, but he is still worshipped by the same people. Godzilla, Kong, and Mothra are all stated to be the titans that ancient civilizations coexisted with. Of course, Kong has continued his coexistence all through the present day, as we can see with the Iwi people. Godzilla is starting to get back on track to do so, and Mothra, she hasn't really continued her coexistence because she kind of took a couple thousand-year hiatus, or 100-year at the very least hiatus, but she's back now, and it seems that yes, she is going to continue that, and you know, she's dead. But if she returns again, she will. This doesn't set up Godzilla vs. Kong directly, but I do think it's important to Godzilla vs. Kong. I think this could play a factor in Godzilla vs. Kong. When Behemoth rises up from the cave that he's captured in, or I guess not captured, but hibernating in, when he starts to break free of his containment field, Monarch blows him up. They set him on fire. They try to burn him to death. And Behemoth's fur is too thick. The big woolly mammoth monster cannot be burned. He is confirmed to be fireproof as a result of how thick his fur is. I do believe this is setting up Kong's resistance to the atomic breath in Godzilla vs. Kong by showing a monster that Michael Dougherty has already said was made essentially to be a companion visually and biologically to Kong, although they're not going to be buddies, I doubt, in the new movie. They are supposed to look similar, and they are supposed to be two monsters that there is a parallel between them. And if Behemoth is fireproof as a result of how thick his fur is, I think it's safe to say that King Kong may not be fireproof, but he may have some sort of fire resistance in Godzilla vs. Kong, which would explain how he's able to withstand the atomic breath. In continuity, we could explain this as the reason he gets so beat up by the napalm in 73 is simply a result of his fur not being thick enough to withstand that heat yet. This is the big thing though. This is the biggest piece of the novelization for Godzilla King of the Monsters that sets up Godzilla vs. Kong. It's got a lot inside of it, and so we are going to break down the entire section here, and that is what happens on Skull Island, Outpost 33, when Ghidorah does his mass awakening. So we catch up with Kong a little bit before Ghidorah blows up the earth. A little bit before Ghidorah ruins everything for everybody. We find out that Kong likes his solitude a lot. He really likes his peace and quiet. Kong patrols the island, and that's his job. He is the protector of the island. He's kind of a noble character. That's the way he's presented. It seems like he's almost retired at this point. Like, he's not really actively fighting monsters. He's been able to keep them in check, and so he doesn't need to fight monsters anymore because he's kept such good care of the island that there really aren't any threats at the moment for him to deal with anymore. He investigates all the Hollow Earth entry points to see if there are any skull crawlers there, if there's any skull crawler activity. That's basically what his job is. He patrols the island to make sure no skull crawlers are rising up. Kong then visits the Iwi people to see how they're doing, showing that once again he is continuing his relationship with humanity. He very much cares for these people, as he does rush in to save them in Skull Island: The Birth of Kong. And again, he is proof that coexistence with the Titans is possible, as he is coexisting with these people. We learn that Kong had heard the Mutos calling each other. At least I believe this is what the book was trying to tell us. It's kind of hard to tell because the book keeps Kong's section super vague. I don't think it ever outright refers to him as King Kong during the time spent on Skull Island. It always refers to Kong as he and all these other vague terms. We never really get a flat out description as to what it's talking about because it's told from Kong's perspective. We learn that Kong heard, I believe, the Mutos calling each other. He heard that Godzilla woke up and went after them and attacked them, and he ignored that all because it wasn't relevant to him. And ever since then, Kong has noticed that a lot of Titans have been waking up around the world. There's a lot more activity on Earth than when there was previously. We do get a prologue at the start of the book from Godzilla's perspective that is very similar to this. Godzilla has noticed this as well. There's a lot more Titan activity nowadays than there was back in the day. Again, I think that will play a part in Godzilla vs. Kong, as I do think we will see more of the monsters, more of the Titans from around the world than we saw in Godzilla King of the Monsters. I think they're going to be all over the place, causing problems, and that is going to be the inciting incident for the film. We learn that Kong is aware of Godzilla and has noticed that Godzilla has gotten close to his island before. I don't know if he exactly knows what Godzilla is, but he knows that there is a Titan moving around the world that has gotten close to his island. So he's aware of Godzilla's existence, even though he might not outright know it's Godzilla. When Ghidorah winds up on top of that volcano and does his mass awakening call, the call reaches Skull Island. Kong hears it and ignores it. He does not care. He doesn't bow to anybody. This confirms Kong in continuity as one of 3 alphas. Kong is an alpha along with Ghidorah and Godzilla. Mothra bows to Godzilla, Rodan bows to Ghidorah, everyone else bows to whoever the alpha is. Kong doesn't bow to anybody. Then the mass awakening occurs. It starts and Kong is angered by all of the noise from the Titans around the world waking up. Like I said, he does not like the other Titans. He likes his peace and quiet. He is not a kaiju, he is a people kaiju. You know what I'm saying? He just likes people. He doesn't want to deal with giant monsters. He just wants to deal with little people. Kong gets even angrier when all of a sudden all the skull crawlers underneath the island start to rumble. They all hear Ghidorah's call and respond to it by rising from the ground to help Ghidorah wipe out the planet. I would anticipate that we will see the aftermath of this in Godzilla vs. Kong. I have a feeling we are going to see the Iwi people have been nearly wiped out by the skull crawlers as a result of Ghidorah's actions. And during this scene in the novelization, King Kong decides that it's time to step down from his position as a noble hero and step into the role of a hunter. He is going to be a kaiju hunter. That is his new job. That's badass. To sum it all up, Kong hears Ghidorah, he gets upset and then goes after all the Titans trying to kill them so that they don't wipe out humanity. Or really, he's just kind of more interested in preserving the balance of the world. But he certainly does not like that all the Titans, especially the skull crawlers, have woken up. And I have a feeling that is going to be his primary motivating factor in Godzilla vs. Kong. This section was included in the novelization and shared by Michael Dougherty, and I think it's going to be incredibly significant to the future of the MonsterVerse, so I'm very glad we got a little taste of it, and I'm hoping we get to expand upon that in Godzilla vs. Kong later this year. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about all this Godzilla vs. Kong setup in the novelization? Do you think that it's going to matter at all, or do you think that they're just going to disregard the novelization? I don't know. I have a feeling that it's a lot more important than we realize at the moment. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.